Hi and welcome to another story, and today we have part 8 of Secrets by Jacqueline Wilson, continuing from chapter 15. Treasure. It's been the longest day ever. I ate my breakfast, and by 10 o'clock I'd eaten my lunch too, just for something to do. Then I felt sick and started to worry what I would do if I was sick. I wasn't sure how much that horrible waste bin would hold, and how could I be sick without making a noise? Wanda might hear, unless she was too busy being sick herself. Fancy India not guessing she's pregnant. India seems so grown up and she uses all these la-di-da long words, but she's like a little kid really. Our Patsy knows more than she does. I mustn't think about Patsy or any of the family. I might start fussing and have an asthma attack. I'm still a bit wheezy. I'm trying to breathe slowly and calmly, but when you think about breathing, you forget about how to do it properly. I can't help wondering what will happen if I have a really bad asthma attack, like the time Mum had that terrible row with the neighbours when she lived with Big Bill. They set their dog on her and I screamed and then I couldn't stop. I couldn't catch my breath. I was just gasp, gasp, gasp. Mum had to get me to hospital quick. I always needed my inhaler after that. I need it now. I do so hope India goes to see Nan. I mustn't think about Nan. I'll think about Anne Frank. I've read her whole diary now. It gets harder towards the end, but you keep on reading because you care about her so much. You wonder what she's going to do with Peter too, though he's far too dull and boring for Anne. She never got the chance to meet anyone else. The diary doesn't finish the way you want it to, with the war ending and Holland liberated, and Anne and her family and all the other Jews free to come out of hiding and all the concentration camps opened up, and everyone nursed back to full health. The diary stops, and then there are a couple of pages telling you what happens next, if you can bear to read it. I wonder what it felt like to be stuck in that awful camp. I wonder if Anne knew she was going to die. I wonder what it was like to be one of the guards, maybe with his own teenage daughter at home. I don't get why people want to hurt other people. I don't get why Terry wants to hurt me. I don't get why my mum loves Terry even though he hurts me. If I ever win the lottery, I'm going to buy a great big house, maybe one like this. And it'll just be for really special people. Nan, India, if she wants. Patsy, Loretta and little Brittany. Maybe Willie can hang out with us too. My mum can come, but only if she promises not to bring any blokes with her, especially not Terry. It'll be my house and my rules, and the minute anyone hits or hurts or gets drunk or shoots up, they're out. There's no arguments. Immediate eviction. I'll draw the house. OK, I've done the house, and I've given everyone their own room. There are no attics, secret or otherwise. I've seen enough attics to last me a lifetime. I got so fed up by 1 o'clock, and so hungry too, wishing I hadn't gobbled up all my lunch long ago. I wondered about risking slipping downstairs. I lay down and put my ear to the trapdoor and listened. I couldn't hear a thing. I'd heard Wanda come in once, and then she'd gone out again, about 1:45. I was sure she wouldn't have crept back, so I opened the trapdoor and slipped down the stairs, trembling. I listened on the landing. I felt like I had great flappy elephant ears. I was listening so hard. The house was silent. Well, a tap dripped, a clock ticked, the radiators gurgled, but there was no human noise. I ran along the landing to the bathroom. It was bliss to use a proper toilet. I had a wash and cleaned my teeth too. I hoped India wouldn't mind me using her things. I went and had another peep in her bedroom, marvelling. I'd wondered if I'd made half of it up, but it was even better than I'd remembered. I stroked the quilt on the fairy tale bed and rubbed my cheek against the smooth, silky pillow. I longed to climb into the bed and curl up and sleep. I can't sleep properly all by myself up in that attic. I wriggled around all night on that tiny camp bed. Every time I started dozing, Terry came stalking me, his green eyes gleaming as he undid his leather belt. I'd feel safe in India's soft bed, but if I fell asleep, I might not wake up in time. Wanda might come back and find me. I checked on Wanda's bedroom. There were a lot of screwed-up tissues on her pillow. It looked like she'd been crying for hours. She was obviously very upset about the baby. Loretta was pleased she had Brittany. She said a baby is someone of your very own to love. She certainly loves Brittany lots. Maybe Wanda's worried what her mum and dad in Australia will think. Nan cried when Loretta told her she was going to have a baby. She said she wasn't mad. She was just sad because Loretta was still such a kid herself. Nan thought Loretta should have waited, finished school, done some training, made something of herself. I've made a baby instead, said Loretta. You girls, said Nan. Maybe it's my fault. What's the matter with me, eh? First it's Tammy expecting at 17, and now it's you. I'm not like Tammy, said Loretta. She never wanted hers. Nan shushed her, but I heard. It didn't come as any surprise. I know my mum never wanted me. She didn't even want to hold me when I was born. She told me I was all purple and slimy, so she couldn't stand the sight of me. The nurse bathed me and powdered me and brushed my hair and popped me into a pink sleeping suit. I've seen a photo. I didn't look too bad. One of my eyes looked a bit wonky, but I'm sort of cute otherwise, with this fluff all over my head like a dandelion. Look at your little baby, your little treasure, said this kind nurse. Don't you want to give her a cuddle? I'd sooner give her a clip round the ear for all the pain she's caused me, my mum moaned. My little treasure? She said it was a joke. She used it as my nickname, so that's what I got called. I don't care if she didn't mean it in a nice way. Well, I do care, but it's okay. My mum loves me now. She wants me back. She was crying on the television. Oh, come off it. That doesn't mean anything. Terry was crying too. I wish they'd shown my Nan on the telly. There was a phone on the kitchen. I dialed 141 so the call couldn't be traced, and then punched in Nan's number. It was answered at the first ring. It wasn't Nan. It was Terry. Hello? He said into my ear. Hello? Hello? Who's that? Look, if it's one of you journalists playing silly beggars, I've told you, we've got an exclusive with another paper. There was another voice telling Terry to hand the phone over. Maybe a policeman. Then I heard Nan. Shut up. It could be Treasure. Let me speak to her. Treasure, is it you, darling? Are you all right? Where are you? I'm hiding, Nan, I whispered, and then I put the phone down quick in case someone else snatched it. My throat was dry. I poured myself a glass of water. My hands were so shaky I spilled half of it down my front. I wandered around the huge kitchen, seeing little bug-eyed treasures in every shiny surface. What would Nan think of a kitchen like this? The fridge had all sorts of fancy food, but I didn't dare help myself. The larder was easier. I had a handful of raisins, a licked finger of sugar, and then I got started on a packet of cornflakes. They made me cough. Then I started wheezing. I put my hands on my tight chest and told myself to take it easy. But then I saw a dark shape through the mottled glass of the kitchen door, and the sound of a key in the lock. I ran like the wind, out of the kitchen, up the 2 flights of stairs, up the attic ladder and through the trapdoor. I lay on the floor of the attic, gasping. Blood drummed in my head. It was so loud I couldn't hear properly. Oh God, there were footsteps, coming along the landing, getting nearer and nearer. Come out, someone called, an oldish voice. I heard you. I'll call the police. I lay there, my hand over my mouth. I heard the ladder creaking. They were coming up after me. I reached out and found the light switch. I flicked it off quickly and lay still in the dark. I hate not being able to see, but it meant they wouldn't be able to see me if they stuck their head through the trapdoor. It was opening. I clamped my lips together in agony. Are you in there? It's not you, is it, India? I waited for her to work out where the light switch was. India, she said again, but with less conviction. She sighed and then went back down the ladder, pausing to put the trapdoor back in place. I heard her down on the landing, muttering to herself. I waited until I heard distant hoovering. I sat up, wheezing, and switched the light back on. I kept telling myself that it was okay. She hadn't found me, but I couldn't stop feeling scared. I'm still scared. If only India would come back. I need my inhaler. I can't breathe. It's getting worse. Footsteps. India? But what if it's the cleaning lady? I'd better switch the light off quick. I tried to switch the light back on, but the light bulb's broken, and I'm in the dark. I'm so scared. I'm trying to write this, but I can't see what I'm doing. The footsteps went away ages ago. Where's India? It must be so late now. Maybe it's night time already. I want Nan. Did she hear me? Does she know I'm all right? But I'm not all right. I'm getting so scared. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Chapter 16. India. Dear Kitty, I bet I've kept you on tenterhooks. I screamed as Treasure fell apart in my arms. Treasure! I'm here! I can't breathe! I felt my way towards her. I'd been holding the clothes doll she'd made for company. The real Treasure was huddled up in a corner of the black attic. She clutched hold of me. Have you got your inhaler? No, I tried. I've been everywhere, but it's okay, Treasure. I'll help you breathe. Treasure sucked in a breath and then said something very rude. I didn't think she was being fair. I tried so hard, but I held her and straightened her shoulders in the dark, and after a bit she stopped wheezing so much. She started telling me about going downstairs and nearly being caught by Mrs. Winslow. I told her not to come out of the attic, and the light bulb going, and how she panicked in the dark and then passed out. I think she might just have gone to sleep, but I didn't like to contradict her. I gave her the bag of presents and told her to feel each one and see if she could tell what it was, while I nipped downstairs and tried to find a new light bulb. She didn't want me to go and leave her alone in the dark again. I'll just be a minute, I promise, I said. But I got waylaid. Wanda was in her bedroom, so I helped myself to all sorts of stuff in the kitchen, including a 100-watt light bulb. I shoved everything on a tray and started carrying it upstairs, but Dad suddenly came bursting through the front door, home from work a good hour early. How's my little girl, then? He called up the stairs after me. He sounded friendly for once, but there was something odd about his voice. It was thicker, as if he was getting a cold. Hi, Dad, I said, and carried on up the stairs. Hey, come and give your old dad a kiss, then. I tried, blowing him one, balancing the tray against my chest. I want a proper hello hug, Dad insisted, bounding up the stairs after me. He tripped and went, whoopsie. sounding foolish. He wasn't getting a cold, he was drunk. It was obvious when he caught me up. He smelled awful and his eyes were bleary and bloodshot. What was he doing, drinking at work? I gave his cheek a hasty kiss and tried to edge around him. Come here, India. You love your old dad, no matter what, don't you, darling? Yes, Dad, I said, though I'm not sure I do now. He tried to hug me and the tray tipped. Careful, Dad, please. What's all this, son? Said Dad, stirring all the food with his forefinger. He wagged it at me. Naughty, naughty. I thought you'd sainted stick-thin mother had put you on a diet. It's just a little snack for when I'm doing my homework. Won't the light bulb taste a bit crunchy, said Dad, roaring with laughter at his own feeble joke. Dad, please, let me go and get on with my homework, I said. Dad tagged after me all the way to my room. Dad, look, you can't come in here. It's private, I said desperately. I've got to fix your light bulb, darling. Can't have my little sweetheart electrocuting herself. Dad switched on my bedroom light and stared stupidly at the 3 glowing bulbs. He tried to snap his fingers. Abracadabra. Fixed already. No, Dad, the light bulb's for school. I've got to take it for a science thing tomorrow. Thank goodness. That diverted him. That bloody school, they charge a small fortune. No, a huge fortune. In fees, and now they want your old dad to fork out for light bulbs. He started a long rant about my school and how he didn't have any money at all. He even got out his wallet and flapped it in my face to show me it was empty. He was getting really angry. It was as if my real dad had been abducted by aliens and they'd sent this mad, mean, replicant dad in his place. Dad, you're scaring me. He blinked at me, his face screwed up. No, I'm the one who's scared, he said. I'm in such a mess. Oh, Dad, it's Wanda, isn't it? I whispered. Wanda, said Dad. What's Wanda got to do with it? What's she been saying to you? Nothing. Don't talk about her like that, Dad, please. I'll talk about her how I want, said Dad, his voice thickening. It's my house, isn't it? He missed a beat. Well, no, tell a lie. It's not my house at all. It's your mother's house. It's her name on the mortgage. How about that, too, to make a man feel small? Still, just as well, I suppose, given the circumstances. I didn't know what he was talking about. His voice tailed off as he lost his thread. He shook his head and then belched. You're drunk, Dad. Good. Well, I intend to get drunker, he said. He turned on his heel and lurched down the landing. I listened to him going downstairs, wondering if he'd miss his footing and fall headlong. I wanted him to. I don't know how much Wanda heard. She came scurrying along to my room right away. What's your dad doing home from work so early? I shrugged. Don't ask me. He shouldn't have been driving home. He's drunk. Oh dear, Wanda looked stricken. I'd better go to him. I'd leave him alone if I were you. He's in a foul mood, I said. Wanda took no notice. She went downstairs, and I risked rushing up the steps to the attic, balancing the tray. Treasure was in a state again, but when I'd got the new light bulb screwed in, jolly difficult in the pitch dark, she calmed down. She had a long drink of orange juice and then started picking at one of my special sandwiches, banana, cream cheese and honey. She poked the bits of banana out and licked the honey. Eat it properly, Treasure, I said. I munched my own sandwich with appropriate appreciation. I ended up eating most of Treasure's too. Why were you so long, India? My dad got hold of me. He's drunk. He's so disgusting. You mean he's been down the pub? I don't know. He has these secret bottles of whiskey. He keeps one in his desk here. Maybe he's got one in the desk at work too. I hate the smell of him when he's been drinking whiskey. I hate the smell too, and the way it makes them so mean. Terry would always go for me when he'd had a few whiskies, said Treasure, rubbing her forehead. He hit you other times? Lots. One time he thought I was sneering at him for something, and he got his hand round my throat. I thought he was going to kill me. He said it was just a joke to teach me a lesson, but he left bruise marks all around my neck, and Mum had to keep me off school. He bought me a stupid bear with wobbly eyes and little hearts saying, "Make friends after." He tried to get round me, pretending to be the bear, talking in this stupid growly voice. I just sat stone-faced, and Mum said I was hard-hearted, a little cow, and couldn't I see Terry was doing his best to make it up to me. That's so mean of your Mum. She's like that. She can't seem to help it. She'd forgive him anything just because he's her bloke. He could cut my throat and she'd go, "Oh, Treasure, don't bleed to death. You mean cow? Now you'll get Terry into trouble with the cops." Hey, wouldn't it be incredible if the cops thought Terry had done away with me now? We could phone up anonymously and say, "We're sure Treasure Mitchell's dead and it's all down to her dodgy stepdad, last seen chasing her down an alleyway in Latimer." Treasure was chortling with laughter, in spite of her wheezy chest. Then she saw my face. "What is it? He hasn't been arrested, has he?" "He hasn't, but Michael has." "Michael? What do you mean? Which Michael? The funny one with the mum, next door to your nan. Old mumbly Michael? Goodness, what's he done? He wouldn't hurt a fly." "They think he's hurt you." "What? Are they nuts? Why Michael? He helped me hide from Terry. Oh, God, maybe someone saw me with Michael. Oh, India, what are we going to do? His mum will be going spare. Michael won't even understand. This is so awful. I know, but I'm sure they'll let him go after they've questioned him. What if they don't? Treasure took hold of my arm. Do you think I ought to give myself up? No, you mustn't. Of course you mustn't. Why? Why did it all have to go so wrong? I was so happy at Nan's. Treasure wailed. I couldn't help feeling wounded. They couldn't see. Why couldn't she be happy here? I'd tried so hard to make her welcome and comfort her and give her treats. I didn't say a word, but Treasure saw my face. I'm sorry, India, she said. You've been so lovely to me, but I'm never so grateful, honestly. It's just that I wish I could go home. I can't ever be safe with Nan while Terry's around. He's going to get me eventually. I just know he is, and I don't know what to do. Treasure punched the floorboards violently. Don't, they might hear. And you'll hurt yourself, silly, and start up your asthma. How am I going to manage without my inhaler? You'll manage fine. It was so scary when I was up here in the dark. I couldn't breathe at all. But you're okay now. I'm wheezing. Only a little tiny bit. You just need to sit up straight and unclench. I gently pulled at her fingers, smoothing them out. Unclench all of you. Now, relax. Relax. Treasure giggled. You sound like you're hypnotising me now. Well, so what? It's working. Yeah, while you're here. It's when you're not. Look, maybe tonight I could come up into the attic again. I could sleep up here with you. Would you like that? That would be great. Treasure suddenly looked hopeful. Or I could maybe creep downstairs and sleep in your bed with you. No, that's too risky. You know it is. I'll come up into the attic. It'll be fun, like a sleepover. I wasn't sure how I was going to organise things. I thought I might have to wait till it was really late, when everyone else had gone to bed, but everyone conspired to make it as easy as anything. Dad got so drunk he didn't even make it through supper. He ate a few bites of steak, gagged suddenly, and lurched from the room. Mum stared at the salad on her plate, cutting her cucumber and carrot into tiny pieces, while Dad threw up noisily in the downstairs loo. Wanda groaned sympathetically, her hand clamped over her mouth. After a long time we heard Dad staggering up the stairs. Wanda scraped her chair back and got up. Mum glared at her. He's ill. Perhaps I'd better help. He'll manage, said Mum. So Wanda sat down again. She was greasy white herself. Her eyes suddenly popped. I'm sorry, She bolted from the room. Dear God, Mum said, putting her knife and fork down. Has she been drinking too? She sighed heavily. I felt sorry for her. It was going to be so humiliating when she found out about Wanda's baby. I felt so bad for all of them. It made me feel empty inside. I stuffed a large slice of bread in my mouth to try to ease things. Absolutely nothing ever affects your appetite, India, said Mum. The bread tasted like cotton wool in my mouth. It swelled up, choking me. I coughed, tears welling. Oh, for goodness sake, India, you're not crying, are you? I swallowed the wad of bread. No, Mum, I'm not crying, I said firmly. Disappointed? Mum looked at me. She shook her head but didn't pursue it. I've really got to catch up on some work, said Mum, looking at her watch. Well, I'm going to do my homework and have an early night, I said. Mum nodded. She patted her cheek for me to kiss. I made noises with my mouth without touching her. Night, Mum. I cleared the table and stacked the dishwasher, raiding the kitchen for night-time snacks while I was at it. I knew Mum wasn't likely to look in on me when she went to bed, but I arranged some of my old clothes in a heap under the bedclothes, with Edwina Bear across the pillow just in case. Then I changed into my pyjamas and dressing gown, gathered up all the goodies, crept along the landing and up the ladder. Treasure had been busy drawing. She'd run out of papers, so she'd started to crayon on the walls. Treasure, those felt tips are indelible. But you said no one ever comes up here. That's true. Still, I wanted to feel like Anne Frank. She had stuff all over her walls, birthday cards and pictures of the Dutch royal family. She thought they were really special, didn't she? So have you drawn William and Harry then? I said, going to have a look. No, you nut. I've drawn all the people who are really special to me. Look, that's you. She'd drawn me first in my school uniform, with a great fuzz of orange hair and scribbly brown clothes. She didn't have a proper flesh shade, so she'd coloured me in very pinkly. I wish she hadn't made me look quite so fat, even though I am. I looked like a big pink pig who'd been rolling in the mud. Still, I was pleased she thought me special enough for my portrait to be in pride of place. She'd drawn Nan too, of course, in a tiny white and gold outfit. Her arms raised, her legs bent in a complicated manner. She's doing a line dance, said Treasure. So's Patsy. Patsy was in a little pink top and trousers. It was hard to tell where her clothes ended and her skin began, but she looked very cute. Treasure had drawn Loretta too, holding a very large baby Brittany, almost as big as her mother. Well, I like Brittany more than Loretta, said Treasure. She'd drawn Willie on his bike, though it was a pretty weird vehicle, one wheel much bigger than the other. That was it. What about your mum? Don't want her, or anyone else. These are my special people. You do yours now, India, on the opposite wall. It felt extraordinary drawing right onto the white wall. It felt terribly daring at first, but I soon got used to it. I drew treasure first. It sounds like boasting, but I know more about drawing than she does. I can do perspective and shading and vary the lines so my people look real. I decided it might be tactful not to make treasure look too real. So I didn't add her scar. I sketched in her glasses very lightly, and I gave her hair an imaginary wash and blow-dry. Yeah, I look great, said Treasure delightedly, hanging over me. I got out the red felt tip to do her coat, but Treasure prized it out of my fingers. No, I want to be wearing your mum's clothes, Moira Upton from head to foot. You've no taste, Treasure, I said, but I obediently drew her in the latest spring designs. Cool. You draw them really brilliantly. Maybe you could be a designer like your mum. No, thank you very much, I said. Watch it, or I'll scribble all over you. But I finished Treasure very carefully and neatly, even inventing a new pair of pointy boots with high heels, which I knew she'd appreciate. Brilliant, said Treasure. I wish you could make them real. Who are you going to draw next? I conducted a little audition in my head. Dad failed, and Mum, and Wanda, and all the other au pairs. Maria didn't get a look in, or Ben, and I couldn't even get enthusiastic about Miranda anymore. I've only got one other special person, I said. I drew a mass of dark hair, and big dark eyes, and a thin face and pointy chin. Anne Frank, said Treasure. Hey, why don't you give her some Moira Upton clothes too? She'd look great in them. I experimented lightly in pencil, but it felt sacrilegious, like drawing a T-shirt and jeans on the crucified Christ. I drew Anne with her little white collar and dark cardigan and check skirt. I tucked her diary in one hand and her precious fountain pen in the other. There, Treasure. Are you still keeping your diary? Of course I am. I'm writing heaps and heaps. I've used up nearly all your drawing pad writing in it. I'll get you another notebook. Don't worry. Hey, I couldn't have just a little peep on some of the stuff you've written, could I? No, it's deadly secret. You know me. You show me yours. I haven't got it on me, have I? I keep it hidden in my bedroom. Oh, go on, Treasure, please. Just one page. Not even one word, Nosy, said Treasure, grinning. Not even though we're best friends? Absolutely not. How about if I bribe you, I said, opening up a bag of goodies. Kettle chips, olives, chocolate raisins? Hey, this is like a real sleepover party, isn't it? We ought to have some scary videos, too. We'll tell scary ghost stories to each other instead, I suggested. We nibbled companionably, both of us sitting on the camp bed, though we had to be careful to balance the weight. I was acutely conscious of the fact that my weight was practically twice Treasure's, but she didn't tease me about it at all. I made up a story about a woman being walled up long ago. For days and days afterwards, people could hear her scrabbling on the wall with her fingernails. I reached down surreptitiously and trailed my own fingernails over the floorboards, making Treasure jump terribly. Then she told me several real stories about Terry and what he'd done to her. They were far more scary than my imaginary melodramas. I've been dying to go to the loo for ages, but I kept putting it off because I felt embarrassed about using the waste bin. But then Treasure used it, and so I plucked up the courage to do it too. Then we cuddled down in the nest of clothes in my bed cover and confided all the most embarrassing things that had ever happened to us. I had heaps more than Treasure. Then we got on to all our favourite things and the best days of our lives. I told Treasure that the day I met her was one of the best days of my life. Yeah, it's one of my best days too, she said, putting her thin arms around me. You're just saying that because I said it. No, it's true. I wrote it in my diary. I can't show you because that book's back at Nan's. But I will show you one teeny bit of this diary, if you promise not to laugh. I'll show you a picture I drew, okay? Don't laugh, it looks a bit like a Valentine. I didn't laugh. I nearly cried when she showed me this beautiful picture of us together enclosed in her heart, with roses all around. She's my best friend, ever, ever, ever. And that is where we'll leave part 8 of Secrets by Jacqueline Wilson. I'll be back soon with the next part of this fantastic story and lots more stories and videos coming your way very soon. If you'd like to subscribe or hit a like, that's always appreciated. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.